Okay, here are 6 facts about the deep ocean that are completely true, and every single one of them sounds like a lie. By the end of this, the biggest place on Earth is going to feel a lot stranger than you thought.
The biggest place on Earth? You're starting big.
I have to because that's fact number 1. We have barely seen it. As of last year, only about 27% of the entire seafloor had been properly mapped in high detail. Back in 2017, it was 6%.
Hang on, 27%? We have maps of Mars. We can see craters on the moon.
We can. And yet most of the ocean floor, the largest living space on the whole planet, has never been looked at directly. People have walked on the moon. Almost nobody has seen the bottom of the sea.
That genuinely feels backwards.
It gets better. Number 2, down in the deep ocean, most of the animals glow. Below about 200 meters, where sunlight gives up and the water turns black, roughly 80% of the creatures make their own light.
80%? That's not a few weird fish. That's almost everything.
Almost everything. They use it to hunt, to hide, to find each other, to talk. And because the deep sea is so enormous, scientists think bioluminescence, living light, might actually be the most common form of communication anywhere on Earth.
So the most common language on the planet is glowing? I did not have that on my list today.
Number 3 is a correction, because you have been lied to. The blobfish. That famous photo of the saddest, droopiest, ugliest fish you've ever seen?
Oh, I know exactly the one. The little pink frowny blob.
That is not what a blobfish looks like. That photo is basically an injury. Down where it lives, under huge pressure, the blobfish is a fairly normal, rounded little fish. The water pressure holds its soft body in shape.
So what happened to it in the picture?
We hauled it up. When you bring it to the surface, the pressure drops away, and its body has nothing holding it together anymore, so it just sags into that famous blob. The ugliest animal in the world was perfectly fine until we pulled it out of its home.
We slandered a completely innocent fish. I feel terrible.
As you should. And speaking of that pressure, number 4. At the deepest point of the ocean, the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the water presses down at around 8 tons on every single square inch.
8 tons? On something the size of a postage stamp?
On something the size of a postage stamp. That's more than 1,000 times the pressure you're feeling right now. It would crush a person instantly. And yet, there are still little creatures living happily down there, getting on with their day.
How is anything alive in that?
That brings us to number 5, and this one rewrote the science books. In 1977, scientists in a tiny submarine found cracks in the deep sea floor, pouring out hot, chemical-rich water, and around them, an entire thriving city of life.
In total darkness? With nothing growing? What were they eating?
Chemicals. That's the shock. Every food chain we knew about started with sunlight, with plants soaking up the sun. But here, in total darkness, bacteria were feeding on the chemicals streaming out of the vents. And giant tube worms, taller than a person, were feeding on the bacteria. Life that runs on chemistry instead of the sun. Nobody knew that was even possible anywhere.
So we found a completely different way to be alive at the bottom of our own ocean.
Our own ocean. And finally, number 6, the one I love the most. The longest animal ever recorded probably isn't the blue whale.
It has to be the blue whale. That's the answer to that question.
Not anymore. In 2020, off the coast of Australia, a deep-sea camera filmed a creature called a siphonophore, coiled up in a giant spiral. Its outer ring alone was about 45 meters long. Longer than a blue whale.
One animal longer than a blue whale? What even is it?
That's the wonderful part. It isn't really one animal. It's a colony of thousands of tiny clones, all linked together, working as a single body. A living string, drifting in the dark, hunting as one.
I came here for fun ocean facts, and I'm leaving slightly afraid of a piece of string.
That's the right reaction. Because here's the thing. The deep ocean is the biggest place there is. It's full of light and pressure and creatures we've barely met, and we have explored almost none of it. The strangest place on Earth is right here, and we've hardly started.
So the real fact is, the best ones are still out there.
Still out there. If one of these got you, tell us which in the comments. And stick around, because the world is so much weirder than it looks. Stay curious.
If you enjoyed that, subscribe for more and stay curious.